have
now
like
that this meeting is being recorded came on, I can't drop the F-bomb, right? Just don't do that.
no, we curse on this podcast. We bleep it out in the clips, but we definitely curse. I don't have enough editing power to actually go back and find all of my F bombs, so I just let it go. It's not worth it. Um,
Well, I've been like teaching for long enough in this industry that I have learned not to drop it. So I think I'm quite mature about it.
that's good. I think I'm pretty in control, but I definitely when I know that I can say it around somebody, it's it's either I'm saying it a lot or I'm not saying it at all. It's very rare that I'm sprinkling it in. I'll try not to. I think I'll make it through this podcast without actually saying anything bad.
So weird thing. My mother is super educated, insanely accomplished, does all kinds of crazy things that you would never, and she loves the F-bomb. But so there you go. Okay. And
It's
she's 87, so
I
you
feel
would think
like
her generation wouldn't, but she does.
throw me in the group chat. I feel like we'd get along. All right, let's start. Kel, you're world famous, but for the people that don't know you, for those very select few, tell us about your background. Like we want to talk about the tech community, how they partner with the accounting community. You're one of those that has done both exceptionally, started as an accounting firm, but like how did you even get into that? Like you were running a firm, how did you end up in this tech partnership community kind of world that you live in now?
Okay. So let's qualify that famous part. My family is way more famous in a bigger pond. That's water skiing and also downhill, including Olympics and all the things.
Wow.
Um, and my husband is more famous in a bigger pond as well in the fly fishing business. So somebody called it, what did they call it? Q level famous, as in
You?
QuickBooks Q, as in
QuickBooks level
QuickBooks.
famous.
So they called it Q level famous. So let's
That's
keep
awesome.
all that because everyone likes to keep my head in check, and so there we go. That's my own self check.
I love that.
So I have a bookkeeping firm up here in Canada, and I am deeply involved in our bookkeeping association up here, Certified Professional Bookkeepers of Canada. I'm going to plug myself. I just got a fellowship, so I am now a fellow certified professional bookkeeper. Thank you. Yes. I've been involved in that organization for a long time. And since we're going to talk about community and app partners, that was my catalyst really into deep partnerships with both accounting firms, bookkeeping firms, and the app partners. But I didn't start in this industry. I actually have a sales and marketing background.
Hmm.
So
Didn't know that.
super weird. I took kinesiology at university, did not finish, but still loved it and still got my certified sports trainer. So I was an athletic trainer with professional athletes.
Wow.
Uh, but what that was because that was so darn long ago, I was taking biomechanics. And in the basement, there, I'm going somewhere with this. In the basement of York University, were computers that frankly I couldn't even fire up. This is in the early days of DOS. So we had one of the first computerized biomechanical digitization programs in North America. And I got to be a part of all of that. I was also a part of the blood doping trials. That was when you had to kill somebody to test if they were actually blood doping. So that was super cool too. We didn't kill any athletes. We
I was
were
gonna
doing the
say
measuring. Yeah, we were doing the O2 measuring. So at
were
any
you
rate,
I've heard a lot of accountants are doping with creatine these days. Have you heard about this?
yeah, I think there's a guy named Logan leading
There's a
this
lot of
charge.
controversy about doping with creatine. Uh,
I'm not
so
really the ins and outs.
controversial.
I know how can it be controversial? I'm not. We're not talking roid rage here, right? Oh,
Sorry, go ahead. Blood
okay.
doping.
Okay, so this is you and I getting off track like we do. Okay, so
Yeah.
back on track. So I'm using a computer that I can't even turn on, but the possibilities are so incredible of what we're about to do with biomechanics and then leading into oxygenation levels, red blood cells in blood doping. And now I'm hooked on computers. And so this is back in 1981. So we're talking early. then I myself got injured. I moved on. I got a sales job. And so then I wound up in the sales and marketing world, actually got some sales awards, which was kind of fun because it was young and heady and they're sending you off to really cool places like
Yeah.
Malaga, and giving you these things all because you were yapping away to clients, right? And then, but they sent me a lot to sales courses. So then fast forward, I have a marketing company. Marketing then became very, very cloud based.
Mm.
So we're like way back. As soon as PDFs came out, that doesn't sound groundbreaking, but it's incredibly groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And Dropbox came out and FreshBooks came out. It all came out. And so we were well ahead. So by the time I came into the world of accounting, I'm like, where's all the tech? And
Mm.
so then in 2013, so 2012, I adopted QuickBooks Online and Xero. Not
Okay.
pretty, but again, it was like that biomechanic digitization. The possibilities were endless for what we could now do. And then I met the guys at HubDoc, the Jamies and HubDoc. I met them, and now I'm involved with, because there wasn't many people in the cloud base. Canada was like all in. We love this stuff, right? I haven't written a check in probably 30 years, kind of thing. So we've been doing e-transfers, all this stuff. We can send money to our friends in seconds since, again,
That's
I don't
nice.
know.
I still have to write checks to my landlord. So
Yeah, weird. Okay, so all of this stuff, the possibilities are endless. And there I was at the beginning of it all. So, not a genius,
yeah.
not anything, just willing to adopt it and being in the right place at the right time. So, the Jamies and a guy named Michael Wood. Receipt Bank was founded by Michael Wood. He now has he's building other things. But these two platforms were groundbreaking to go paperless.
Interesting.
And there I was using them. And then CPB, the Canadian Bookkeeping Association, wanted all of this stuff. Like our members wanted it. They weren't like, oh,
Interesting.
they wanted it. We were all in. So that's where it all began. Was with those three platforms, really, QuickBooks, Dex, and HubDoc being so accepting of working with where we wanted the product to go.
That's interesting. So, like, that's the beginning, I feel like, of like cloud in accounting, right?
Yep.
How did you see that progress? Because now I feel like there's a new app every day. There's app
Yes.
fatigue, and we'll get
Yeah.
to it, but there's a lot of marketing that's very difficult for accountants to sift through. But in those early days, did you feel like what these apps were talking about and how these apps are presenting what they could do was very transparent and tangible to the customers? Like, was this before there was kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, this like sleight of hand marketing that I feel like I see constantly in accounting tech?
It was so obvious the problems they could solve for us, the
Mm,
problems they could solve for our clients. There was no question because there wasn't a lot of noise in the cloud accounting space.
yeah,
Solving the problem of receipt management and payment management, and you could only solve payment management with receipt management. It all rolled downhill to paying the bills, let's say, or sending the bills to clients. So QuickBooks sending the bills or FreshBooks and then or Xero, and but capturing, then turning those invoices into bills and then paying them all in a seamless workflow was
yeah.
so obvious a win. I will tell you an odd thing that I did though. This is in Know Your Audience. And I think you and I have talked about this, and I'd like to get back on how to sell to accountants, and that is not to sell to them, but ask them questions. But um, I was I was talking at a conference about that whole process. Get the receipt, let it be OCR into QuickBooks, and then pay it online. But I'm in the US. In Canada, like I said, we don't we haven't we've been digital forever. And
Yeah.
checks for businesses, checks were a little behind if the amount was larger. But what we realized up here is you just had to let the vendor know what was happening and what the benefit to the vendor was. So
Mm,
you send us the invoice by email into this address at hubdocapp.com, right? Or dex.com. We'll get it into our system. If you follow the date range, then we will pay you on your terms, and you're going to get something telling you what we're paying and a copy of the bills that we're paying. The win was obvious. So, and then you
yeah.
would send something out with that last couple of checks and say, this is when we're switching. That was fairly easy in Canada because we already knew about electronic payments here.
Yeah.
I'm speaking at a conference, might have been even one of the forward thinking conferences like Scaling New Heights or whatever. And somebody said, well, how do you get the vendors on board? And I'm like, well, you just tell them. And the whole room was like, and then somebody puts up their hand. What do you mean? You just tell them. And I'm like, does everybody feel this way? And everybody in that particular room in, I don't know what it was,
Yeah.
2017 or 18 even, we're like, they're not going to let us pay by digital.
Yeah.
And I realized as an app partner, you really need to work on the benefit and
Yeah.
trickle it down to who else is affected. So in this case, the vendor was ultimately affected. So the benefit had to be sold through the client to the vendor.
Yep. Yeah, that's really the juxtaposition of the Canadian reception to the US reception is something that I think about always, which is how novel is this concept? Like, even though it was clearly a better alternative, it felt unfamiliar to the US group compared to how familiar it felt to the Canadian group. And when I think
Mhm.
about like a lot of apps in our space and even app functionality, like Accruer is very novel. The concept of just writing like 3 words and things happening feels foreign. And people who get it immediately are like, oh my God. And people who
Right.
don't are like, but I'm used to filling out a template. I'm used to
Yeah.
doing it the other way. And then there's a lot of apps that I think have done a really good job of remixing and reinventing something that already feels familiar and making it better. Like you look at what Ramp does,
Right.
everybody already knows, like, oh, I've used Bill.com, I've used Expensify, I've used Divi. It's that, but I like it better. So that's always something that's super interesting to me from an app perspective, like from the vendor side of, well, how do we bring these ideas to market and how do we teach people about something that feels awkward or unfamiliar rather than something that just is better than the version that they're already using. Um, I'm curious,
Actually,
like,
Jesse, your Jesse,
yep,
put a good post up the other day. He put on LinkedIn and it basically said, you can do this
yeah,
or you can do it optimally. He said it way better than I did. But he was absolutely right. You can do this or you can do this fin optimally. And
yeah.
it was brilliant.
There's fine and there's finoptimal is like kind of this new
That's
phrasing
what it
that
was.
we're trying to bring around because I think a lot of people are okay with fine
Yeah.
and fine doesn't scale. Like it doing something different is better than doing it in a broken way, but not doing it at all because of automation in our minds is the most optimal. Um, But I'm curious. I want to talk about like I was an accountant and I became a salesperson because quote unquote you can talk to people. So like when I joined this company, like there wasn't even a salesperson. I had no idea what I was doing. I was terrible. I was absolutely terrible about how to sell. I didn't know how to market. And every person that I talked to, like in the B2B SaaS space, was like, you have to cold call. You have to aggressively follow up. You have to sell this vision of how it's going to transform the firm. And in my mind, I was like, well, these accountants are like very rational decision makers. These are very smart people. These are my peers. And if I tell them I'm going to 10x your revenue, they're going to go, you are full of shit. Don't ever talk to me again. How do you, as someone who has a sales and marketing background, think about like what is the right way to approach accountant? Because if you're too product specific, they might not get the bigger picture. But if you go all big picture, you sound like fairy dust. How do you think about that? Like, if you were gonna advise someone, like, how do you balance that?
I don't know, but I wish I had some fairy dust to throw around
We'll
right now.
CGI it in, no problem.
Okay. So, yeah, a couple of things. First of all, you know, you've done the right thing, and so have some of the successful app partners who we trust. They have built relationships. So you are involved in communities. I got interested in Accruer because you had built relationships with us without, I didn't even know you had this thing, right?
Yep.
We talked all nerdy accounting things. And for the audience, that would be in bathing suits in cabanas by a pool,
Yeah.
right?
And a lot of non-accounting things that we can't say on the podcast, but yes,
Right.
you're right.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about those
Yeah,
other things.
doing inappropriate bits got me, Kelly. That's good. Yep. Just I'm gonna just save that for Jesse, just so he knows that it's okay for me to make inappropriate jokes because it does work. Continue.
100%.
Sorry.
But that was a pretty, those are pretty close groups that were by the pool. Okay. So, anyways, I think building relationships outside of what your product does is key. You've done
Yeah.
a great job of it. HubDoc's done a great job of it. Carbon's done. Financial Sense has done an amazing job. A lot of that comes from live events
Yep.
and just genuine interactions,
Yep.
and not the endless sell. A2X, did I mention A2X? Who's essentially the HubDoc crew.
Got it.
All of those have built these deep relationships with people, and that is a good start of it. And so being at those live events strengthens those, helping them with problems that may not always lead back to their product. But you and I did a bit of this, and I work with my app partners on this when we were at Scaling New Heights and I was hanging around the booth, which I'm
Yep.
going to be doing at Connect coming up in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks or a month or whenever that is.
Yes.
um you you had some, every single person does this, even the most seasoned of salespeople. But you had people, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I know Jesse went, okay. You had people coming up and you told them what you do. You didn't ask them what they do. And then
Yeah.
you did. Then all of a sudden you were asking. As soon as you start asking them what they do genuinely,
Yeah.
it will probably lead into whether your product can help them at all, and they will get some aha moments. So if you say, "Oh, do you have an accounting firm?" Well, yeah. But some of them will say, "No, I'm just trying. I'm just somebody here trying to scam swag."
Yeah.
They won't say it in those many words, but
That's the
they'll
best
say,
line. Are you an accountant? That's Jesse's opening line for people walking by, and they're like, "It's an accounting conference." Yes, and I'm like, "Great, you're talking. Now let's have a conversation."
right, and then ask them where they're from.
Yeah.
Ask them what the firm looks like. Ask them what their client base looks like. If they are only doing solopreneurs, cash coding, they don't need a crewer, they don't need booker, but you've probably started a relationship, maybe somebody along the line that they know does need it. But then the next question is going to be, oh, so do you do accruals? Would your clients like if they could have an auto generated spreadsheet rather than opening up QuickBooks to look at reports?
Yes.
Like, as when it's coming back down to the client, that really gets them, because anything that the client likes is sticky.
Yes.
The more that we can solve our client problems, the more the clients are going to hang out with us. But the more you keep asking them about them, the more it leads to how you can solve their problem, or it leads to relationship conversations rather than, hey, we sell this thing that you can put in for the period and it does accruals. I
Yep.
don't get it. Thank you. Where's the swag?
Exactly. I the listening, I mean, even when I still take like the for our accounting firm intro calls, I'm always like, I'm not here to convince you to hire us. Like I'm want to listen and learn to what you need. If we can help you, I'm gonna show you very clearly. No smoke and mirrors. And if we can't, I'm gonna send you to somebody who can. I get on demo sometimes and they're like, I need help with like e-com revenue from Shopify. And I'm like, we could show you how to do that, but here's two other apps that I think are better. You
Yeah.
want an intro to them. At the end of the day, like being transparent and helping, I think is the most important thing. And I think a lot of salespeople are trained to like, you can sell it, you can spin it, you can get them, sell them the vision. But what I don't want is in 2 months someone to come back and go, "You told me X, Y, and
Mhm.
Z," and it doesn't do that. Like, why would you tell me that? So I'm transparent to a fault, and I think more apps need to be honest about what they do and don't do. I think there's a lot of like, "We do this," and I'm like, "No, you don't,"
Yeah.
and that honestly negatively affects the entire app community because well I've talked to three other companies that start with FIN and I'm going to lump you all together, not taking a shot at anyone like that, but we're all named so similarly they can't even keep track of who's who, and enough bad experiences starts to breed mistrust and resentment. So I almost wish there was like a mafia of apps that were like, "Hey, don't go against the family. Like, don't say
Right.
this because you're gonna hurt
So
us all."
I don't think there is such a thing as transparent to a fault. I think you are a genuine listener. So when you said you that somebody thought you could do sales because you can talk to people, I feel knowing what I know about you, it's because you can listen to people.
Thanks.
And that's where some of the partners fall down. They are so busy telling people things. They're telling them things they don't even care about. But also the problem solving. So one of the big things still, it's a real thing. So something like your product, sometimes people fear it will make them redundant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's been the problem all along. That's the fear with AI. And I'm not even going to get into the whole AI, it's going to take our jobs discussion, because if anybody thinks they know, I don't know how they can know. I mean, last week, a friend of mine and I were doing, or a couple of weeks ago, a presentation, and we were bummed because the problem with projects in ChatGPT is you can't share them. Well, as of today, you can, right? Is it going to take our jobs? I don't know. I've seen so much on AI slop. You see so much pushback, but you, what you need to do is get deep with people that I mean, there are still people who do not want to use HubDoc or Dex because they like entering data. It
Oh my
makes them
goodness.
feel no, but we need
I know.
to. It makes them feel needed. Being able to do
Interesting.
accrual accounting. So
Yeah.
just to set the stage, the reason that I love your product so much, I mean, aside from the fact that it works, all three
Yeah.
products, that they work, is Canada is almost 100% accrual based accounting. And so I see the value of accrual based accounting. That's how our brains think. The bookkeepers up here are knee deep in balance sheets and accrual accounting. We just don't do cash coding. It's rare. We do it, but it's rare. It's catch ups, right?
Yeah.
So a product like yours, people feel needed if they can do those spreadsheets. But here we'd be going, okay, well, we've been doing accrual accounting long enough that if somebody does that for us, hallelujah,
I
right?
have
So
a
if
list of other things that I want to do. What AI is not going to do is relationships. It doesn't know how to communicate with a person, to get to know a person, to be their advisor. Like that is what accountants should strive to be. Like we understand debits and credits, and like being able to translate them is such a higher and better use of your skills than typing data into a spreadsheet. And you can do it.
but
Anybody can do it.
some people are scared of those higher level relationships too.
Yeah.
And then all we hear is the benefit of all of these apps is scale, scale, scale. When really one of the benefits can be you don't have to work as much. Bill pay is a great example. Some people, because they, and I'm not going to get into the whole hourly based pricing, because occasionally hourly works out great, right?
I got this one
But
right here. This is one of our stickers. Is it
right?
That's
Yeah, it's
the
coming up.
that is the value for me. I want to log off earlier.
Right.
I don't need to triple my client base. I want to go to my kid's soccer practice and not be on my phone. Like there's such a
And
human element to automation. It'll unlock being able to go play golf or go to the gym or get a coffee and not be a slave to spreadsheets. And it's
so
hard
I have a
because
question. So I have two questions though. I
yeah,
can't remember, how old are your kids? I forgot that they were playing soccer.
no comment.
All right. The okay. So the
Listen, I didn't want to give the example of you want to go to the bar and drink. Like that's what I want to do. I don't have kids. I'm trying to resonate with the audience here, Kelly. I already
okay,
look goofy enough.
okay. So let's go back to some of these examples though. What people aren't doing, including some of our app partners, is selling the client outcome well enough.
Yep.
Because if people are so bill pay, early great example that has had so many legs. I had a client manufacturing bill tape, like the management of bills took 2 days. It was nuts, right? We
Yeah.
moved on to, at that time it was HubDoc and Pluto, which is a payment platform. We moved on and we literally moved that to the front end was a couple hours and then the bill pay was like 20 minutes, right? I did not change my price because the client was even happier with the outcome. So
Yeah.
the cost of my services did not go down. My time went way down, and he did not care because his time went way down, and his vendors were happier. We weren't like rewriting checks and doing all of the reapplying credits. Everything
Yep.
was done. He could approve them when like the benefit. So the outcome of even that accrual based for the period, the beautiful thing about that is the client's accruals are in better time,
Yep.
probably more accurate and more transparent, meaning their financials are more useful to the client. Wrangler, the outcome to the client is only that they have access to their reports whenever they want them. As long as we're selling the client outcome benefit,
Yep.
then because people are afraid that they people won't need them. They the average client doesn't even want to keep their bank feeds connected.
I was gonna say they don't want it. They don't want to get rid of you. They don't want to do
They
it.
don't want to know how to do it. They still want us to do it. And most part, if you have sold the value or your app partners have helped you sell the value to your clients, the client does not care how you do it.
Yeah.
They don't care if it takes you 20 minutes or if it takes you 2 days. What's the end result? How am I going to benefit? And the app partners that do well sell that.
I agree. All right. I want to do rapid fire to end this.
Okay.
Rapid fire back and forth until we run out. What are some of the worst things you see app partners doing that they should stop doing? Any app partners listening, if you're doing this, don't do it anymore. You go first.
Well, okay, the LinkedIn DMs, I think we can all agree.
Mm.
Uh, that would be awesome if they ended, and
Pitch
the
slapping.
yes, and the cold emails with hey Calmwaters Cloud Accounting, and they don't even know. I don't know. Stop it.
I would say like using jargon that like doesn't even sound right. Like we're gonna eliminate accruals. That doesn't make sense. Like you look ridiculous trying to market something without actually understanding your customer or
Okay,
accounting.
I have a worse one. We're going to save you 15 hours a week. You don't even know how many hours I'm working right now. How do you
That
know you're going to save me
Do you
15
know how many
hours
times
a
people
week?
are like, build a case study about a crew? I'm like, someone tells me it takes them a day. Someone tells me it takes them an hour. They have two completely different skill sets. I'm not going to just make up numbers. Like, why are we doing that?
Maybe go
Um,
with the percentage, maybe, but I don't know.
I have stuff, but still, it's like I'm not gonna lie. Don't lie. How about that's a good one? Stop
Okay,
lying.
right.
Um, what do you think about gating support by tiers? By like, if you're on this subscription tier, you get this for support. If you're on that subscription tier, you get that. I'm curious. This is not a right or wrong. I want to hear your take
Mhm.
on it.
Okay, so this is a good question because we're supposed to do this in our packaging tiers as well as accountants. We're being told by everybody,
Yep.
gatekeep, keep the support for the higher level. So there's a part of me that says it kind of makes sense, and there's a part of me that says app partners are in a different position than we are. So I probably wouldn't do it.
Yep.
If an app partner asked me, I wouldn't recommend it for them.
Yep. Jesse and I talk about this often, and I always say like Nobu doesn't have a to go counter. That's cheaper. So like if you think that the support like make your product better or raise the price of the product overall and make it a more exclusive or luxurious thing and it's this tall to ride the ride and you're going to get A plus support. Not if you buy the cheap tier, you get cheap support, and if you buy the expensive tier, you get expensive support
Yeah,
because then those people are going to go online and be like, their support sucks, and then someone's going to
right.
see it on the internet, and you're done.
Or they're just going to churn out because they're frustrated.
Exactly. I totally. We did 3 rapid fires before I just derailed it, so that was good. Um, anything else? Any other parting words of wisdom to the app
Um,
community? How about this?
yeah,
What about words of wisdom to the accounting community?
yeah. That's where I was going to go with it.
Yes.
Make friends with your app partners. They
Mm,
are a wealth of information, not just about their particular apps. They have brought me so far along, not just in terms of technology and the ability to serve my customers, clients, whatever. Let's not have that debate. But also just how they think, the experiences, how it looks, from a completely different perspective than just an accounting professional. They put a lot of thought into how to make our lives better and run our firms better, not just using their apps.
I love it. I love the like for me to close out on the be friends with your app partners. Like when people give me thoughtful feedback, they immediately are the top of the list. They say something, they're getting it. If something's wrong, you don't like something, the feedback to give isn't, I don't like this or this isn't working. It's, hey, I was doing this and then this happened and I would expect that to happen. Is there a reason you made that choice? Yeah, we made that choice because of this. Does that not make sense to you? No, I'd rather it this way. Okay, cool. We'll build that for you. The people who have those conversations with us get what they want. And the people who just think, it's almost like if when you've worked in the service industry, you know to treat people in the service industry differently. When you're on the app side, you get what it's like to be on the receiving end of frustrating emails from people, even when they're wrong. And you have to go, I'm sorry that I made it confusing for you. Let me make it easier. There's a degree of like respect that I feel like you gain for support and product and software people when you're on that side as someone who's been on both.
Such a great answer. I want to take back my last answer.
Okay.
I've written a few blogs on this. So I don't know if we have time for this. Cut out whatever else you need.
Yeah, go.
I get so discouraged by the lack of respect for our app partners when somebody one hasn't learned the software properly or has not asked. It get does not like the lack of respect can be insane.
Yeah.
People forget that there are human beings behind these products. There are human beings. So I've written a few blogs on this because, and I have a Facebook group that you cannot do that. I've got words in there. I also have words for app partners that I think are less than stellar too. So people can't post about them without me checking it out. It's true.
Yeah.
And then, but also this gets in my bonnet. There's a free version of an app and it doesn't do the things that all the other things do. People gripe about the free version when all they
Yep.
have to do to solve their problem is upscale. Instead of upscaling, they about what the free doesn't have. And
Yep.
I as if apps are volunteers in our world.
Oh my
We're
God.
allowed to make money. Do they
Yeah.
think it's magic that the apps with
Yeah.
but they still don't want the ads or whatever goes along with it. This is not like being at the food shelter, right? That's
Exactly.
not right.
We're not all rolling around with like open AI funding. Like we're regular people like trying to make a living. And this is a
Yeah,
$25 reporting app. And you're trying to do something that the app doesn't do and you're angry about it. Like, I'm sorry, but like we're people.
right. And
So
people just find so. This is one of the things I spend these are the hardest conversations my app partners and I tend to have. Other than what are the priority feature builds or bug fixes, the second one is when they're going to do something with pricing.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I take back my first answer.
I
Be
love it.
nice. Just be
That's a great,
nice.
just be nice is a great way to end it.
Goodbye.